Hi, and welcome to the Dingers Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch. This is episode 79. We're almost to 80, boys.
Nice.
I feel almost 80 some days.
I'm here with Jeffrey and Kevin. Jeff, how's your mom doing? It was Mother's Day yesterday.
Oh, yeah, she's great. I texted her Happy Mother's Day, and I got back a laundry list of ailments, followed by my brother's ailments. So I think she had a good day.
What did you get her? Did you get her some flowers?
No, I got her the Happy Mother's Day text.
Nice classy move there, Jeff.
Yeah. What can I say? I had a big day. Went for a walk before it rained. I took a nap on the couch.
Big day for you.
Watched a documentary or two.
There you go.
Nice.
What can I say? My dad got a lot of help from my grandmothers. So,
There you go.
Anyway, Kevin, did you make your wife feel special on Mother's Day?
I did.
Why?
I did.
She's not your mom. That's your kid's problem.
Touche, Jeff. But I have always found that the mantra "Happy Wife, Happy Life" rings true most of the time.
Yeah, you can also use "It's a Wonderful Life" when you have a wonderful wife. Feel free to use that.
That's a new one. I'll have to use that when I'm across the room, out of striking distance.
That's right.
All those things. Jeff, you got a nice little vibe going. I liking the look. Looking like a guy. I like it.
Yeah, I just I got a fresh cut and a shave down at the Loyal Sons Barbershop down in Des Moines on Ingersoll.
Ooh, they're so good.
They do a fantastic job. I tell you what, it's like man pampering. And you had a rough week or whatever, go get a cut and a shave.
There you
Nice. That's awesome. I'm feeling a little windswept. Had a ball game tonight for the Nevada Rockies. It is really flipping hot out there. We skipped spring. We'll go straight to the 90s. 90s. The feel was 97 at first pitch. It was wonderful. Everybody looked like they were dying. Keaton caught 4 innings and was like beet red, and I kept just feeding him water, like keep drinking water. But played well. Mitch, how was your weekend, bud?
Man, we're deep in it. We're deep in this youth baseball, softball. It feels like every single night we have, like tonight, my son had his travel team practice. My daughter had a game. They're at the same complex. So I'm at my daughter's game trying to watch my son's practice at the same time. My daughter caught tonight like 3 innings. She loves being catcher, but just deep in it. This weekend, got to go enjoy both my son and daughter playing games all Saturday. Travel team, great games, but my son is also in rec league. And so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my son plays rec league. And so travel team, it's player pitch, like 8-year-old kid pitch. And there's a lot of walks, but like it's only kid pitch.
Right. Yeah. If a kid gets off their game, they gotta work through that. Just like you see at the big boys.
Yep. But in the rec league, it's player pitch for 3 or 4. And then the coach comes in, and that's me.
Heard you shoved the other day.
Oh, I was straight shoving. My off-speed stuff was just keeping these hitters off balance.
Wait, but you pitched to your own kids, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to make them earn it. And especially, there's some kids, I really like, there's this Desmond kid. Love him. He's a huge Dodgers fan, which I know I'm going to hear some crap here tomorrow from him in the Dodgers sweeping the Cubs. I'm going to hear it. But I can say that Justin Turner's playing garbage baseball, so that's his favorite player. So, but you know what? There's some players that you like Desmond. I'm going to give him some good meatball pitches right down the middle. But there's this other kid.
Are you going to throw at him?
I'm not going to beat him, but there's another kid that's pretty mouthy.
He's the bases loaded. I mean, just plonk him, tie it up.
I mean, I haven't got to that point, but I'm not going to give him the best pitches. I'm gonna maybe work the corners. Gonna live on the edge. Not gonna give him one right down the middle and make him earn it. And I'm gonna say I got a couple Ks. I walked away feeling good. Not giving a ton of runs up, but my son did take me deep. He hit one pretty far over me and let me hear about it as he was heading to second. But you know what? I felt good. The arm's feeling good. We'll go get them again on Thursday. I'm trying to work on my changeup, getting it down and inside on the righties, tailing in. So that's the game plan going forward. Hopefully that my ERA can stay below 2. That's what I'm trying to do here at Rec League 8-year-old
That's
baseball.
hilarious.
But what else can you do? Just try to shove while you're on the mound, you know? I mean, it's a large part due to because I don't trust the players behind me making the play and getting out. So when you have that, you're like, okay, you got to command this here. You need to really, for your team, make sure that they're like,
if they're going to hit the ball, they have to hit it right to the first baseman, a slow grounder they can pick up and walk over.
Yep.
Nice.
But it was really funny because like I'm third base coach. My team's out in the field. Like I'm out kind of like helping them kind of like organize the defense. And I'm staying over there with a third base coach that was like for his team. And I look over at Desmond and Desmond's like, dude, we need to throw a slider here. This guy's sitting dead red on our fastballs. We gotta change it up. I'm like, dude, you're 8 years old. I love this. I love the energy and the vibe that you're putting out. Like, go tell the pitcher, slider inside.
That's awesome.
I love it. Yeah. But this is the Dingers Podcast. We're proudly part of the Chi-City Sports Podcasting Network. Remember, we are free and available wherever you find your podcasts. So go find us, hit us up, drop us a like, drop us a review, a 5-star, whatever it is, do it. Y'all can also find us on YouTube at the Chi-City Sports YouTube channel, where you can get other Dinger videos and content. And join the conversation. Follow us on Twitter at Dinger Cubs. We love interacting with you, our listeners, and Cubs fans. What are we drinking today, boys? Let's do our Dinger picks and let's talk some Toppling Goliath Brewery, the best brewery in the world.
Yep.
I got a dry hop Pseudo Sue.
Ooh.
I have not had the dry hop. I've had the regular Pseudo Sue, and it is really tasty. So I'm interested to see how this is. But yeah, go get yourself some Toppling Goliath beer in Decorah, Iowa. If not, you can go hit up the Benny Beverage Depot or go to tgbrews.com and you can have a beer finder and it will tell you where the nearest place is to where you're living.
Yeah, and they've got a new beer right now called Suds and Buds. Toppling Goliath has been partnering with a couple other breweries around the area, and this one, they're partnering with Black Stack Brewing Company. They're combining the Midwest brewing power of Iowa and Minnesota to concoct this hop-forward triple IPA featuring Citra, Riwaka, and Cryopop hops. What good is great beer? What good is great beer without great company? So sit down with your favorite friend and crack open a can of Suds and Buds, just like Jeff.
We should sit down and have some Suds and Buds together.
Yeah, I like that.
The Suds with the Buds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get something scheduled before you check out for Northeast Iowa.
Yeah,
true.
Definitely.
True.
Definitely.
So who, speaking of beer, who would be our Crack Your Beer Player of the Week? Brought to you by TG Brews.
Oh, can I say Cody Bellinger? He went 3 for 4 last night.
Jeff, you're kicked off. Well, I was gonna go with Willie for his nice little Willie check. He's making sure that Muncy was doing all right on that wild pitch. Wanted to make sure he wasn't doing too bad. Willie actually had some good at bats in the last series. Kind of seems to be heating up a little bit. It's nice to see.
My Crack the Beer Player of the Week is Pete Crow Armstrong. You're asking, who is Pete Crow Armstrong? Well, he is for the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, the single A affiliate of the Chicago Cubs, and he's been tearing it up. I think he's the number 3 prospect in the Chicago Cubs system. Just a straight stud. He's the guy who we got in the Javi Baez deal. More about him later, but he is my Crack a Beer Player of the Week because nobody from the Chicago Cubs deserve it. So I'm going to drink this beer to him and not to the Chicago Cubs until they start playing better baseball.
Right. Speaking of, where are we at? Are we actually this bad? Like, what's going on?
Jeffrey, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to say that they're not playing like sound fundamental baseball currently. There's been untimely errors that extended an inning, and normally when that happens, bad things happen. Especially For pitcher's grinding, like when we watched Justin Steele in Milwaukee, and he was kind of struggling through the early innings, and he 2 outs, about ready to get out of the inning. A hard hit ball down to third baseman. Wisdom bobbled it, then threw it away. Now instead of runners at first and second, they're at second and third, and the next batter up hit one over the wall. Happened later that game against Luke St. John, and then last night, how many errors were there? Like 2, 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's defense has been terrible, just atrocious. And then we're like the third worst team in the league for running the bases. I think we're leading the league in getting caught stealing, and we're running into outs. You go on and on.
Right. Yeah, the base running. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Eric has a shout out for going with Willie. That I should have gone with Willie for getting my first dinger point, which is true. That he got me off the schneid. I was over for a very long time on the schneid. I was almost hitting worse than Frank Schwindel and Hermosillo there for a while, not getting a dinger, but he came through for me.
Do you think any of us has a chance to hit 15 to 20 dingers?
No.
Right.
Does any of our players have a chance to hit 15 to 20 dingers? No.
Yeah, not at this rate. We got to pick up some hitting, though. We do have a nice little stretch coming up. We got the Reds and the Pirates, but what's going to happen is we're going to go play the Reds. They're going to get back their players that have been injured, and then they're suddenly going to go on a tear, and they'll sweep the Cubs for some reason because they get their pitching back, Luis Castillo and stuff.
Right.
But Jeff, you were talking about the base running. There have been multiple just mental mistakes on the base paths and weird ones, like that Nico one where he thought the ball went out of play, and so he's just kind of walking it into second base and gets tagged, and just stuff like that you start. I mean, you get a guy on base that's starting the line, and you want to keep the line moving, and then you get caught walking back to the bag and getting out. That just kills all the momentum that you're potentially building.
Yeah. The base running and just getting picked off, like they've gotten picked off a ton of times. They're actually rated the third worst base running team in all baseball right now on Fangraphs. Third worst.
I don't think anybody has to worry about getting traded at the deadline. They should worry about getting their outright release.
Well, there's some of them.
Right.
But let's look a little bit deeper. Are we as bad as our record shows? We're 9 wins in what's how many losses?
Oh,
17
something.
Yeah. No, 9 and 18.
There we go.
9 and 18. So in our first 10 games, we were 6-4 with a 4.8 runs per game. Our batting average was 277. Our OBP was 357, and our slug was 446. In our last 17 games, we're 3-14 with a 3.2 runs per game, a 204 average, a 283 OBP, and a 311 slug.
All right.
This includes the 21 run game as well.
Jeez.
So if you take that game out,
so that game was one of three wins.
Yep, one of 3 wins. And if you take that game out of 21 runs and all the hits, the averages just look even worse. Like the slug looks even worse. I mean, we only had 1 home run that game, but
all right.
But if you do this, I can spin this a little bit positively here. The Cubs have the same team batting average as the Milwaukee Brewers, same amount of home runs as the Nationals, and a higher OPS than the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox suck.
Just bottom dwellers over there.
The Nationals aren't very good, but Milwaukee's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get
Well, I say we benefited at the beginning of the season from playing equal or lesser talent. We did have the series out in Colorado where everybody thought the offense was fixed and everybody's bats had woken up, and it's a hitter's park. The last 3 weeks, we faced tougher competition. The next top tier pitching, and the boys are playing with their heads up their butts.
Right.
You can't field things cleanly. Can't make the throw first. Can't throw a second. Things like that. It all piles up.
It's so bad that this week the Reds gained 2 games on the Cubs.
Right?
How's that happen?
Right. Did the Reds sweep the Pirates, or they took like 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4 from the Pirates.
Yeah.
They started the season 3-19.
Well, we're on a 3-14 stretch right now.
Right.
So
Tell you what the boys need is a good rain out.
good rain.
Not a bad rain out. They need a good rain out where they go out and run along the tarps and slide around for a little while.
I mean, but like, what is the big issue with the Cubs? Kevin, what would you say? Like, what is the one thing, if we fix this is what would really help this team win some ball games?
Ooh, I don't know if it seems like those first 10 games, when they got off to that hot start, it was all about keeping the line moving baseball. Nobody was necessarily swinging for the fences. Nobody was trying to change the game with their one at bat. It was just, single, single, double, single, single, double. And they seemed to be, when they were hitting into the gaps in the corners a little bit, which seemed to kind of keep it going. And it helped quite a bit. That was funny. There you go, Jeff. Good for you.
Sorry.
I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? If you could fix one thing, what would
Mental
it be?
mistakes.
Mental
mistake. Like, I don't think. Remember those comments Javi Baez made about not being prepared to play a game?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's happening, like, every day. Like, these guys that came in at the trade deadline were having fun because they finally got to play every day. So, I mean, they're just out there having fun, and everybody was like, whoo, Frank the Tanks, hitting tanks. Nobody's hitting. I don't think anybody's having fun, and they're like, oh, this is a job. We've got to do this every day.
You know what else is not fun? Listening to your staticky mic.
I don't know what to do about it.
Right.
Try unplugging your mic and then just going with just the iPad. And if you want to leave and then come back in, that's all right. I'll let you back in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's staticky. It's bad. Our listeners don't want that. You don't want that. I don't want that. So
I don't know. That's
you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed.
drop out and cut your mic and then come back in.
Yeah. He sounded good at first when he came back.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
For me, like when I think about like this offense in the problems that's kind of been occurring is when I look at the WOBP. So if you don't know what the WOBP, it's a version of on base percentage that accounts for how a player reaches base. So like if you get a double, that boosts up the OBP. So it gives value to getting
to the number of bags you get and stuff.
The number of bags you get. And so when you look at league average, WOBP, the league average is 304, right? And so here's the guys that have a seriously low WOBP. Hermosillo is 204. Madrigal is 238. Gomes is 247. Schwindel is 252. Last year, his WOBP was 555.
Oh, wow.
Hayward was 270. VR is 270, and Ortega is 285. Now get league average, not like great, average is 304.
Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 of our guys are all below league average.
Yeah, 7 of the guys that we're like supposed to be counting on. I mean, to be around when you especially when you look at like who is this offense built around right now, or who's performing. We only really have Hap, who's been playing great ball. What he's doing is great. He's taken what he did last year and carried it over to this year, and we're seeing performance.
Then unfortunately, because he's been so regularly performing, I think he's getting pitched around now. Like he's taking a lot of walks because nobody's going to give him anything to hit because he's
there's nobody behind him. There's nobody.
It's like, do you remember Madden would every so often intentionally walk Bryce Harper and stuff because it was like, nobody else can hit, so we'll walk this guy and get the next guy out. Like
and so. Like, and then we have Seiya, who started out hot, kind of cooled off. I liked how he approached. Like, you could see, like, you went through a stretch where he was taking a lot of pitches, especially first pitch strikes. Last night, you kind of saw a little bit of a switch get flipped, and he was a little bit more aggressive at the plate. And hopefully that's going to carry over. That's why I picked him for my dinger pick tonight, is that hopefully that carries over. And then you have Contreras, who's playing decent ball, doing what Contreras has done for all the years. And then you have Wisdom that's playing average. Everybody else besides those four, and that's not great. Wisdom is not playing great.
Right.
Contreras is doing okay. Seiya's doing okay. Hap's doing, I would give him two thumbs up.
Yep.
2 thumbs up. But the rest of the guys, like, there's no offense there whatsoever to be able to drive in any runs. We have only scored, like, look at this. If you look at the how many runs we've scored in the last 17 games. So look at this. So we've scored 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 0 runs, 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 3 runs, then 21 runs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But like, we haven't scored more than 3 runs since that 21 run game. Like, we can't put up runs. We can't get guys in, and like, and it doesn't help that our pitching's not been there. But like, let's dig into Schwindel, because yesterday he got optioned to Iowa, and then today he just said, carousel. No, I'm not leaving. I'm back. He's back in right away in the starting lineup. How does it have to feel? Like, we're gonna send you down. Oh, wait, never mind. We need you back up here, and you're gonna start for us at first base.
Right.
Like, but what do you see in Schwindel, Jeff? Like, has been kind of the problem with his swing. What are you kind of noticing?
Well, you know what? I think the problem is my mic was dying, so I plugged it in to charge it.
Nice.
Honestly, I was kind of wondering this over the weekend. Do you know he was injured in spring training? Like, is he?
I thought about that too.
Is he still hurt?
Because he had a lower back injury, and you know those things kind of linger. Like, I don't know if like And
I mean, look at Rizzo.
Well, like, what I was thinking is like, okay, if you're Schwindel and you work this hard to make it into the majors, and you're older and you have a little bit of a back injury, and then you're like, man, if I get sent down, I've already seen Rivas play pretty good, and I hear kind of in the back that people want Rivas. If I get on with an injury, I might never get this chance in the major leagues again. Like I could see him like, okay, I'm not telling anybody that I'm hurt. Like, I'm going to try to play through this. Like, that's a great point, Jeff. Like, I think there's still something there with him just not feeling great, and like the nervousness of being like, hey, if I get sent down, I might never be back here again.
Right. And then the weird thing is didn't they just burn an option?
Yeah, I think they just burned it up.
I don't know how many options he had before, but don't players start with like 5?
He had 3 left.
He had 3 left. So now he has 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a long season.
Well, I'm thinking about that injury thing. I mean, how many was it? Was KB injured across like 2 years? And his numbers really kind of were low across 2 years, or at least I remember there was a year where he was pretty roughed up like all year, pretty bad, not great numbers and stuff like that. And then when he came out of it, he played fantastic. And so I think asking that guy, you know, like you said, he's not gonna volunteer to come out of the lineup. That's not who Frank the Tank is. And he wants to keep his spot. He's gonna work his butt off to kind of keep it there, but that means you're gonna get, unfortunately, not 100% Frank, and 100% Frank was awesome. So 50% Frank, not quite as good.
We do have a 1-run lead tonight already with Seiya getting a nice base hit and driving, or a double, driving in a run.
Driving in Contreras.
Driving into Contreras.
Had a walk.
So, that's, good that we're getting on the board already right now.
Just got to keep the line moving. Good job, Cohen.
Suzuki.
Well, like, let's dig in a little bit more with Schwindel. He is getting the play. I don't know what he did in his first at bat tonight, but like the big things that kind of stick out to me, and Joey Ricotta kind of tweeted this out from Fangraphs that these are the things that are sticking out with Schwindel. His exit velo percentage is 14%. His XWOBP is 7%. His barrel percentage, the amount of time he's barreling up balls, is 14%. His whiff rate is 33%. So he's swinging and missing a ton, especially on the high fastball. His hard hit percentage, when he actually puts the ball in play, is only 11%. His slugging is 10%. His base on ball is 21%. His chase rate, I mean, still pretty good. He's swinging at balls in the zone, 5%. Outs above average, he's 18% above league average when it comes to making outs. But you see, he's not chasing a lot of balls, but he is whiffing a lot. And I think he simply can't catch up right now to the four-seam fastball. And it might be due to injury. But his WOBP versus fastballs right now, it's 193. And last year was 472.
Wow.
So that's hitting the ball, and not only hitting the ball, but hitting it so he's getting like doubles and triples. I remember last year he was getting a ton of doubles.
Yep.
And
he'd always stand up double to second, and he'd turn and fire the tank off into the dugout. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the big thing, like with him getting sent down to Iowa, is right now down in Iowa, you have Jared Young and Nelson Maldonado, who are also playing really great, and who also we need to see a lot of, and we need to see what we have in them guys, especially Maldonado,
right?
Who's been tearing the cover off the ball, hitting like 374 to start the season, playing just some great baseball. And like, I'm getting the feeling more and more, if he doesn't get out of this funk, Schwindel's going to be like a great trivia question, like 10 years from now, kind of like the Jake Fox was back in the day, of being that player that broke out for 1 year and then we've never heard from again. And so I don't want that, because I liked the storyline.
Yep. And he's a guy. I mean, he showed up after that 21-run game. He showed up down at the bar just across from Wrigley, drinking a Busch Light, standing behind, just chilling. Like, he's a great dude. And I really don't want to see him go. But then it also, you have to remember what is the average career length of a Major League Baseball player is only 5 years.
Yeah.
Like when you take all of them, and it's like, I don't want him to be one of those statistics. Love him to be there forever, but I don't know. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, he's going to have to get off the schneid real quick, because there's like a bunch of players behind him that are just clicking on his heels right now. To be honest with you, and maybe that's part of what's in his head, is he knows he's not probably 100%, but he's not going to say anything because he doesn't want to come out of the lineup.
Your mic sucks again.
Damn it. I'm going to bed.
Just go with no mic.
I've had it.
That's too bad.
Who would you say is on the trade block?
Oh, right. Yep. Oh man, changing gears. This is hard, because I think we had daggers stabbed in us last year and like twisted with all those guys getting traded, and I don't think it gets a whole lot better this year. I mean, Contreras doesn't have an extension. I think he's on the trade block.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go.
Yep. Another one I saw some chatter about recently was actually Hendricks. Like whether he would be a guy to build around in the future, which seems kind of weird, because with him and Stroman in your rotation, they would be good pieces to fill in with the younger guys as they come up. But I think there's the potential that he's gone. Was it David Robertson? Probably gone.
Yep.
Easy.
Hopefully he's not injured too badly.
Right.
You need him to get some pieces.
Right. Well, and I think Mitch and I were talking, was it this morning or something? Like, you know what? We should trade him earlier rather than later, because you don't want him to get hurt. You don't want him to suddenly not be playing as well, and you want to get as much for him as you can. I don't know. Who else do you see on the
I mean, I see
side?
Anybody and everybody. I see Schwindel. If they could trade him, they're going to trade him. Hap could possibly. I don't know if they see him as the future. Like, I think he's playing great baseball, and I think they could get a lot for him. I would like to keep Hap,
Right.
because I think he can be serviceable out there. I think Nico's gonna stick around.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wisdom, if they could get anything for Wisdom, they would trade him.
Right.
I don't think they see him as the future third baseman. I see Rivas. He could be traded. Contreras. When you look at pitching, I think Hendricks could be gone. I think Stroman, if they could get anything for Stroman, he's gonna be gone. He's only here for 3 years. With signing a 3-year deal, they don't think that he's gonna stick around.
Right.
I mean, unless they could get him to resign, so like he could be gone. I mean, Miley, if he does well here for the next couple starts, I could see them flipping them. And the sad thing is, it kind of turns into, yeah, it's good for the Cubs because you're getting guys, but what message is it sending to any free agents that want to come to the Cubs and make it their home? They're not going to want to come thinking that they might be traded. Now, there's some, like, I think David Robertson signed with the Cubs so that he could get traded to a contender and go for the World Series, because
he wanted
he's
to
so
play
old
for a ring, you know?
Yep. And he wanted to wait and let it be decided later instead of choosing and not knowing. He wanted to go to a team where he could be traded to a contender and he can pick.
Yep.
And so
he'll be on the Dodgers later. You know?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
I'm guessing he probably will be with the Dodgers. Yeah. Like, they need some bullpen. Him and Kimbrel can shove down there at the end of games. But yeah.
Right. And I think we saw that back, back before 2015, before Lester signed that big deal with the Cubs. It was all these 1 and 2 year deals that got flipped at the deadline year after year after year. And it took kind of Lester being that guy to sign that long deal before other people started kind of following along with it.
Yeah. We got Haywood.
But like, I feel like a lot of people are looking at this team as kind of like a 2015 or 2014 type team. The 2014 team at this point in the season had 10 wins. We only have 9. But is this team going to be any more fun than that team? Because that team was the team that first we got to see Jorge Soler for the first time. We got to see Javi Baez for the first time. We got to see some guys for the very first time. We got to see Kyle Hendricks brought up. We got to see Jake Arrieta for the very first time.
Was Russell up that year?
Nope. He wasn't there. But some of these, like, we got to see for the very first time. Mm-hmm. Junior Lake was on that team.
Oh man, I remember Junior Lake. I watched him a lot in Iowa.
Rizzo was on that team. Darwin Barney was still on that team. Bonifacio was on that team. Castro. Who else?
Man, is Castro still playing?
Sherholtz. I think he might be still out there.
He's still stuck in Miami?
That's a good question. I'll look it up.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so like, what is it going to take for this team to be as fun as that team? Because
winning.
I have a feeling that we're going to be hurting so bad that we're going to lose viewership. And that's why I sent out a tweet tonight, like, with the Cubs playing garbage baseball and us on a West Coast trip, I wonder what the viewer rating will be for Marquee Sports Network tonight. Because, I mean, it's just tough. We talked a little bit about problems with our offense. Let's dig a little bit into our starting pitching. So our starting pitching has a combined WAR for 0.1. Sources say that's not good, Bob.
Not great at all.
Carlos Rodon, who the Cubs could have picked up in free agency by himself, this year already has a WAR of 1.6. Him alone is doing better things than the Cubs' whole pitching staff. We have not had pitchers in the last 17 games pitch past the 3rd inning or the 4th inning.
Wow.
It's not good.
I think the last time we had somebody was Stroman. What game was it? Stroman did it one time.
Was it?
Oh, I bet it was a loss. But we lost that game.
I think we ended up winning it, but like, yeah. Do you think that our season would have been different if we would have had Miley and Mills to start the season?
Probably a little
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've been going on this 4-man rotation with a 5th-day swing for a long time. And if we'd started out with 5 and an extra long arm or 2 in the bullpen, or more of a being able to focus. I mean, you look at what innings pitched, and Thompson has like the 3rd highest amount across our team or something as the long arm guy, and more than any of the starters, or more than 2 of the starters. It's just kind of wacky to see that, and seems odd. And I think if we had Miley and Mills, and who knows who we would have gotten out of Mills. Maybe he would have been a guy in the bullpen backing up Steele or something, but who, I don't know. I think it would have definitely been different. It would have seemed a little steadier through the rotation.
Yeah. I just know that getting those guys back, especially Wade Miley pitching tomorrow. He pitched for the Iowa Cubs the other day, 4 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, 3 Ks, 0 base on balls. We need him in this pitching rotation. Like, he's not amazing, but he's going to eat up innings, and he's going to give us quality starts. And so that's what we need. And probably Mills is going to get put in there too, like with Steele struggling and then getting the blister. We need some guys to eat up innings, especially because we're taxing our bullpen early this season. That I don't know what they're going to have left later. I mean, they might not even be on the Cubs team later, but we need them to eat up innings. So I'm glad that we're getting. The thing is, like, when we're bringing these guys back, I heard today that Bodie is getting closer to coming back, and bringing these guys like back in. Some guys are going to be on the cut list. Right. Hermosillo, I think he could be gone. Schwindel, I think, is going to be sent down once that happens. Maybe Madrigal could be sent down.
Right. Yeah, he's got options.
Hayward, is he going to get cut? Like, there's going to be some moves with these guys coming up, because you have Miley, Mills, and Bodie, who are all on the 40-man that needs to be put on there. Some of these guys are going to be dropped down. I don't know.
Right. Right. The arm barn has been taxed.
Yeah, but let's dig a little bit into like some minor league standouts, because our minor league teams have been just dominating. Right. The Myrtle Beach had a 10-game winning streak. I just saw that the South Bend just won 6 straight games, a sweep of the Cardinals affiliate.
You'll love to see
AA. You gotta love that. Alexander Canario, who we got in the Chris Bryant deal, was named Midwest Player of the Week last week. He hit .500 with 4 home runs and 9 ribbies. I think he's up to 8 home runs on the season. Nice. Max Bain for South Bend has tossed 4 scoreless innings for South Bend on Saturday. Brandon Hughes, last 21 outings dating back to last year. I think he just won the Player of the Week this week. Nice. Last 21 outings. In 34 innings pitched, he's given up 15 hits, a .26 ERA. 0.26 ERA. 12 base on balls and 49 Ks.
49? Holy
49
smokes.
Ks. We have Pete Armstrong, which I toasted my player. He is going to be an absolute stud for the Cubs in 2 or 3 years. He's going to be there. Nelson Maldonado has been playing awesome. Got the call up to Iowa. Nelson Velasquez was killing it down at South Bend. Got called up to Iowa this week. ERA leaders. We have DJ Hers, 0.93. That's what his ERA so far this year. Caleb Killian, 1.46.
And Caleb's at Iowa.
This other day when he pitched, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 runs, 5 Ks, 2 base on balls. We're going to see him in a Cubs uni in a month.
Right. And when these guys get to Iowa, I would notice this over the weekend. When these guys get to Iowa, Alex Cohen, the announcer for the Iowa Cubs, does a really good job of summarizing their days on Twitter.
Yep. Follow the Voice of Cohen.
Yep, at Voice of Cohen. He's a great follow for that. If you're interested in, like, hey, what happened to what did Nelson Velasquez do today? Usually after the game, he's got a tweet out that's like, 2 for 4 with, 2 doubles or something like that. He usually puts that out there, especially for the pitchers. which is good to see right now, because I have a feeling we're going to see Killian up with the big club before the end of the year.
And also follow Northbound. They're great. North side bound.
Yep.
Greg Huss, they're great what they do. They do a great breakdown too, of getting guys,
especially the
down
guys
in my
before
leagues.
Iowa.
Yep. So I mean, right now we're playing the Padres 3-game stretch, and then we go. Who do we play? The Reds and the Pirates.
Yeah, we got
I
some
think are
big
coming up.
ballers.
So I mean, we have some winnable ball games. The the Padres are really, really good, and we're playing there. I think we play Arizona in this stretch too. The Padres have a great pitching staff, so we're gonna have to be able to get on and get some. I mean, it's good to see that we're on the board already in the first inning against the Padres tonight. The hard thing is it's this West Coast trip is just brutal, like staying up for some of these games. I don't know if I can do it. Yep.
Hap and Schwindel both struck out swinging, and Nico Horner lined out to center.
Yep. So, but yeah, that does it for this episode of the Dingers podcast. Hang in there, Cubs fans. It is going to get better. If not this year, in the next couple of years, we're going to be back contending. I do trust our system that we have the guys to do it and bring ourselves a World Series coming up, but it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind as a fan this year, I think. And it's going to be a grind, but you know what? I know a lot of you fans want to stick it to Ricketts for not spending money. And I get that, but you know who that affects too? It affects the players. Like the players need fans to support them. We talk about it's different here. We talk about that the fans talk about how Wrigley gets electric. They talk about all the interaction on Twitter. Like they need us to show support, even though I get your feelings of wanting the Ricketts to spend more money and provide a winning ball club. I get that, but I want to keep showing support to these players because they deserve it, because they're good people and they're trying. They're trying hard. They're not out there trying to lose. Yeah. So even like with Frank, like he wants to be out there. They're hard on themselves, way harder than they care way more. I mean, it's their livelihood. They care a lot more than we care. And so like, I'm going to keep trying to be positive, keep trying to just support this team. So hopefully you can do that along with us while listening to this podcast and interacting with us on Twitter at Dinger Cubs. So again,
you can always tune in and see Jeff's luscious locks, that beautiful hair.
Yeah. At our YouTube channel at Tri-City Sports. But yeah,
they're always on point. This is not always my microphone.
True.
But subscribe on where you find your podcasts. And yeah, thanks for listening to episode 79 of the Dingers podcast.